Hi guys, this is part 3 of doing things that I wish foster parents knew before they decided to take in foster kids. So this one is over pain. So there's two different types. There's psychological pain, which is a profound subjective experience of intense distress, anguish, or misery, frequently described as an unbearable feeling, sometimes perceived as worse than physical pain, and is a critical, often central component in suicidal ideations or behaviors. And it's also known as a psych ache, not psychic, a psych ache. So there's physical suffering or discomfort caused by illness or injury. Pain is complex, subjective, and whole person and experience. It's a mix of biological, psychological, and social factors. Pain that occurs in the absence of a clear physical injury is real, valid, and not imagined. Or, as some put it, all in your head. So, psychological and emotional factors, their mental states such as extreme stress, anxiety, depression, and trauma that all can produce, intensify, or prolong physical symptoms of pain. Emotional and physical symptoms. The brain processes both physical and emotional pain in similar areas, such as the anterior cingulate cortex and anterior insula. This means severe emotional distress, grief, heartbreak can cause genuine physical sensations of pain. And I want to point that out because my entire life, like literally ever since I can remember, I've always had like weird pains, been to multiple specialists. Nobody could ever figure it out. Some of them I've gotten it's all in your head, and because there's no like, oh, you got a bruise or whatever. um and this, like, researching this stuff, it just kind of makes me get like a sigh of relief, because you don't really know until you actually look into things. But it makes sense now, because like I've had weird phantom pains, like I said, my whole entire life. But then, like, even to the point where like they removed a healthy gallbladder because they're like, oh well, this should fix something, and it did nothing. Like, even afterwards I was in such pain that it was like so defeating, because I was under the impression, like, oh, this is gonna help. The doctors are saying, yep, this is it, this is what's gonna be, this is gonna make you feel better. And it never did. Nothing I ever did made the pain go away. So I just want, foster parents to realize that, one, there's two different types, and the psychological pain they're saying is even worse than physical pain. And that's crazy to think about, that something that's just in your head can be worse than something that actually physically is assaulting you. Which I guess also makes sense, because, like, as a kid, I'd rather take a beating any day, than deal with the, like, you're stupid, you're fat, you're dumb, you're this, you're that, you're ugly, you have dumb eyes, you have, whatever it is, your eyes are too spaced too far apart, or, there's so many things that you get told. Especially, I mean, you don't even have to be in foster care. And, kids are just sometimes kids, and they're mean, and they don't understand that the words that they're saying can affect somebody so deeply that, at the end of the day, can make them take their own lives. And I think I wish that more just parents in general knew this, which I mean, I'm assuming that most people have experienced some sort of like bullying or whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, it just happens. That's life. But if more people understood the consequences of being a bully to others, and doesn't even have to be kids, adults can be mean to other adults, and it can create lasting horrible effects on your psychic, your physical. I mean, there's so many things that it can cause. And I understand that a lot of people say, like, oh, well, it's because this happened to me, or it's because this happened to them that they act the way that they do. I feel like at the end of the day, even though you've been through such trauma, you're still responsible for you and how you act and how you treat others. Yes, is it easier to go around being mean to everybody else just because, you're upset about how things went in your life? Yeah, of course it is. It's a lot easier just to be a jerk and just go on. But if you could be that one person that, talks life into somebody else, why wouldn't you want to do that? Like, and as a foster parent, you have that opportunity because, again, we've already went through a couple different things that kids are experiencing. They're already maxed out. They don't need any more negativity or abuse of any kind, whether it's physical, emotional, whatever. They don't need that in their lives. So as a foster parent, you have the opportunity to speak life into these kids and change their lives. They might not understand that at the time, but if you're constantly speaking life into them, they're going to change because at the beginning, they're not used to somebody caring. I mean, and for a lot of them, the abuse and stuff is normal to them. So when they get something that's like different and they can't understand it. A lot of the times their development isn't there to understand it. But then also when they experience something like that, they don't know how to process it. And then, it could lead to like, oh, well, what do they want from me? Or, this is all set up, or, sure, it's going to be nice for a little bit, but, something always happens. And even if like the kids get to go back home, if you have put the time and effort in to making them feel just loved and understood, and that like if they're expressing these kind of symptoms and stuff to you that I'm getting ready to go through, that you have the ability to acknowledge it and do something about it as a foster parent. So key takeaways from this is it is real, it can be chronic, and it can be intertwined. So you can have both physical and emotional issues at the same time. And things to watch for as a foster parent, or any parent, this doesn't just have to be foster parent because, like I said, kids are bullied and stuff all the time at school. And, they might not tell you what's going on because they don't want it to get worse or whatever. And in the days that we're living in, it can get worse. So there could be reasons that they're not telling you, but as a parent, foster parent, whatever, it's your responsibility to have conversations with not only your children, but the foster children. It's the least you can do as a parent is to be involved with what's going on in their lives. Put the phone down, talk to them. It's not that hard. And the more that you do it, the more that they're going to open up and see that, oh, they really want to know how my day was or what I'm going through or what I went through. Because in a lot of the foster homes, nobody ever asked, like, how I was doing, or like even asked like, hey, did you want to maybe talk about like things that are going on at home? Nobody ever asked that. The only people that asked that were like the caseworkers, therapists, and a lot of the times you don't trust people, so you don't want to disclose anything. So, but if it's like a constant placement where you're constantly being like talked to, asked, it's a lot easier to open up to somebody like that than a complete stranger. But anyways, things to watch for are behavioral changes, guarding, rigidness, facial expression, unusual vocalizations, physiological signs, nerve-related pains, withdrawal, isolation, regression, mood fluctuations, physical symptoms, school struggles, negative self-talk, and self-harm. So these are just some of the things to watch for, which can also go back into the other things that we talked about, the abuse and the trauma. So you're guaranteed 100% of the kids have either experienced psychological pain or physical pain. So just talk to them. Sit them down, have a conversation after school or whatever, and just really engage with them. And they will open up to you. It's not that difficult, and I feel like people make it so hard, but all you have to do is just engage, act like you care, and actually care. Follow through. Don't just give empty promises. They already have experienced that.